If your servers make a minimum wage of $15 an hour, should you continue to tip them? Well, I have a surprisingly strong opinion about this, and I thought I'd talk you through it today. So welcome back. I know it's been a hot minute since I've done any content uploads to this channel, but this kind of really struck a chord with me. Over at MarketWatch, they've got the moneyest, and I'm really addicted to it. I read these all the time. Most of them are, my husband has a son that lives in a house and we want to sell it and he won't move out. Those kind of issues. But this one was really, really basic, and it was an argument between a husband and a wife that if a server is going to be paid $14 or $15 an hour, should you continue to tip them? And it was a surprisingly vitriolic response with a lot of whataboutism and comparing nurses and servers. It was really kind of wandering, and I felt like the author was trying to make a point that he really didn't have a leg to stand on. So as a little bit of background, the federal minimum wage has a carve out in it for servers who are tipped. That if they make more than $30 in tips a month, then they can be paid a lower salary. They get their tips as long as the total is over what the minimum wage would have paid them. Now, the purpose of this is not to talk about federal policy or the minimum wage in America, but individual states and locales can and have raised their minimum wages. So in this example, in California, if you had under 25 employees, you could pay $14 an hour. If you had over 25 employees, you could pay $15 an hour. Well, now you have a server who, instead of making $2 an hour, is making $15. Should you continue to tip them? Now, tipping is not exclusively American, but it is decidedly American. Other cultures don't have it, and you can visit other countries or watch YouTube videos of where people come to America and they're confused by the tipping, but I like tipping. I think it reinforces good behavior or expresses frustration beyond complaining to the manager. I understand the people who are frustrated with it, and I see these posts on social media where people complain about how little they make as a server. Well, maybe they're just working at the wrong job, or maybe they're not good at being a server. Tipping reinforces good behavior and allows us, the customer, to compensate excellent service at the point of service. Well, this moneyest article starts combining a bunch of other things, saying that, well, warehouse workers are on their feet all day, just like servers. Warehouse worker might earn $15 an hour, but we don't tip them. And they turn this into an argument about how nurses are underpaid when nurses are making $85,000 an hour, and then further went into, we need to direct our ire at CEOs whose pay has increased more than like 900%. That is totally missing the point of the discussion itself. If you're a server and I'm reinforcing good service and you're making $2 and whatever it is, 13 cents an hour, I'm tipping my 20% typically because I want you to have a good life. I want you to make enough money to survive off of. But I don't tip that Amazon factory worker who makes $15 an hour. I have to rely on a corporation to set standards of the product that arrives at my door on time, from a delivery driver who did his job to the guy who packed it in the warehouse. I can't tip him directly for doing a good job packing it so it doesn't break. But my server, I can. I think this is going to become an interesting question if the federal minimum wage goes up, or if more municipalities continue to raise the minimum wage. I think tipping culture in America will start to go away. If the worker at the drive-through is making $15 an hour, the Amazon worker is making $15 an hour, and that guy who delivers it's making $15 an hour, that's a federal minimum wage, and they intend it to be a living wage. If my server is making as much as everybody else, why would I tip them if I'm not tipping the cashier at the grocery store, for example, or the attendant that I buy a Gatorade from at the local convenience store? If you want the minimum wage raised to a living wage, then I think tipping is going to fade away or become dramatically reduced. That's one side of the argument that people tend to forget, is when you have commissioned employees, a real estate agent, your car salesman, or in this case, somewhat a server, raising the minimum wage, forcing a salary, decreases the extra income they can earn. There are real estate agents, there are car salesmen, and there are servers who make very, very good money because they're excellent at what they do. I think you're going to be capping servers, not increasing their wealth. I think there's going to be a big pushback that if you're making $15 an hour, I don't need to tip you 20% on my food bill, because you're supposed to be working for at least a minimum wage. Personally, I think I'll probably still tip if it happens nationwide, if it happens locally. I think I'll still tip, but I think it will become more of a courtesy tip than a 15 to 20, 25%. Let me know what you think below, guys.